Yeah, dude, the mustache is coming along pretty good. The handlebars are coming in. It's curling up pretty nice. Uh,
Right.
man, yeah. But although since it's my anniversary in a couple weeks, I have to grow some hair back.
Really?
Yeah, well, at least until. And it was really freaking cold this morning, so I was like,
Fair.
those first few blasts of the winter breeze is just like, dude, why am I bald? It's true.
Okay, all right. But they have this cool invention called hats. Like so you get you like a nice wool like skull cap, bro. You're
This
fine.
is true.
You're
This is
perfectly fine. So
You know what they didn't have when they didn't have hats in War World, Justice League
fair,
War World,
fair.
because man, I feel like I should have slept more, or I remember watching the entire thing, but still
Yeah.
thinking that I missed something because it wasn't that great.
Oh God, I watched it in 3 stages. So I started watching during my
Yeah,
morning workout, and I go maybe it's because occasionally we try multi. Like maybe I'm
yeah,
just not with it. So then I watched it. I watched most of it before the Falcons played, and then they lost, which I feel like this is a sign for
yeah.
today. But then after the game, I rewatched from about middle of the war. Now the only thing I did was they had Warlord and all this sort of stuff, and that was my main gripe of it because I watched
Mm-hmm.
that middle vignette for it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna talk about, I know, but I hated what it did with Jonah Hex. I hated what it did with
Right?
Warlord. I
Mm,
hated how they treated Mongol. I hated how
yeah.
they treated John Jones. I was like, okay, and it made there was no resolution, right?
So
Like it never
dumb.
explained, and I didn't
I,
understand. Like, okay, so in the first one, it's just Diana, but in
yeah,
the second one, you get Diana
and
and
Bruce.
Bruce, and in the
Yeah,
third one, you get the three. But why were they being added to each one? I mean, it because I
yeah,
was waiting on. I feel because once they showed John Jones, I'm like, okay, he's going to explain all the things,
yeah.
and then they made Lobo just a total patsy. I'm
I
just
know.
like,
And he didn't even see Bastish.
no, it was just like
I'm like, I was asking for it. I'm like, dude, this
he
is what
didn't
needs to be
have they didn't
redeemed.
have the cadence right. They have the voice. They had nothing with Lobo
Yeah,
right. The art, he looked like Lobo, but it was just like
yeah,
it was like Lobo meets Wolverine. It was like this is
yeah.
not. He wasn't funny. Like none
Correct.
of this. I was like, and why was
And Mongol
Mongol?
wasn't even big.
No, I was going to say why did Mongol look like an NBA player? But
Yeah,
he was like 9 feet tall and slender. Like,
he was like on a diet or something, man.
yeah, I was like, could someone get Mongol a sandwich?
Right.
Like, bro,
Man,
like,
yeah, dude.
yeah,
Like, I'm
yeah,
same with you, dude. I'm like, okay, and honestly, like, I thought the animation was good,
yeah.
especially in the first part, in the western part with
Oh,
Wonder Woman.
of the visuals, the Western was the
Yeah,
best one. Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, then they made Jonah Hex a bad guy, and I'm like, well, that doesn't seem right.
yeah. Because when they first brought Jonah out, I'm like, okay. And then the more he got in, like, wait, he's a. I mean, they got the right voice. I mean, the thing
Yeah,
is, they had the right voice actors and people that played these roles
yeah.
before. But it's like, but also Wonder Woman had a weird accent in this one. I don't think Stana normally does
Yeah,
when
it
she
was like a
voices
Russian
her.
accent. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like,
Okay.
hey. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just really just. And by the way, I checked the reviews. Yeah, it's getting
Not
it's
good.
getting slaughtered. It's getting
Yeah, not
slaughtered.
good. Not good
Especially
at
for
all.
what they typically give for their animated stuff. It's getting slaughtered.
Yeah.
The only thing that made me a little hopeful that we got Harbinger, and
Mhm.
they made her look really cool. So I'm like, sometimes the first step's a little slow, but we'll get there.
So
Yeah,
where's it going? Because I mean, they made it sound like this is going to be at least there's going to be a sequel or a trilogy
yeah.
of what this is. Because I mean, like, and maybe I'm missing something, but I mean, I don't. I mean, I know what
I think
War
it's going.
World is, but
I think they're gonna find a clumsy way of interweaving this to Crisis on Infinite Earth. That's the only thing it could be.
okay, that
That's
makes
the only
sense.
thing, because that's Harbinger's shtick.
Yeah,
Is
and
she?
they said Crisis in the
Yeah,
movie.
and if you notice, they even dropped. I think they dropped multiverse somewhere in it
They
as
did,
well.
yeah, yep.
So that's totally where I feel. And I
Okay,
think she said like, "Hey, there's a crisis." So yeah,
yeah,
okay. That's not how I would do the lead in.
Yeah.
If they give us Alexander Luthor and a really good Superboy, then I'll let this go.
Right.
Okay, remember, I don't know about you, but remember, I hated Iron Man 3, and now with the stuff they did with
Yeah.
Shang-Chi and all the things,
Made it better.
it's made it better.
Yeah.
But we had to
Yeah.
wait like 5 years to get us
Yeah.
there.
Oh
Yeah.
man. All
Now
right.
I love Trevor. Now I love Trevor because of what they did with All Hail the King and
Dude,
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi was
Yeah.
he was great in Shang-Chi.
Yeah. By the way, seriously, if I and we got to roll in other things, but seriously, I really want to believe in my heart of heart, Ben Kingsley goes, y'all got to fix this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm Sir
And what Ben Kingsley wants,
I'm
he gets.
Gandhi, dude.
Right?
I'm flipping Gandhi. Like you cannot have me go out like this.
Yeah. No. You're right. All right. Are you ready to start the show, buddy?
Let's roll it, my friend.
Okay. Welcome to the Fandemic. This is a Facebook and YouTube live podcast that celebrates all the things that we feel are awesome in hopes of spreading our fandom to you.
Yes, sir.
So welcome to the Fandemic, the show that we dive deep into the hearts of fandoms and celebrate the things we love, from sci-fi to fantasy.
Thing that nerds are good at doing.
That's right. Movies to TV shows, comics to video games. We explore the universes that have captured our imaginations and made us lifelong fans. Each week, we're going to take you on a journey through the realms of awesomeness. Brian, expect passionate discussions, in-depth analysis, nerd deep analysis, things under the bed, many side quests. So whether you're a diehard enthusiast or just dipping your toes in the fandom waters, the Fandemic is a place to be. I'm your host, the self-proclaimed Emperor of Awesome, Bradley Butin, and with me every week is the unverified twin of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the eyebrows, the unverified twin of Dave Bautista in the head wrinkles, and the unverified twin of
soon to get the blue check mark.
Soon to be getting the blue check mark, Shamar Warm.
Yes, sir.
How
and my
you
name
doing, man?
Is Brian S. Dennis. Well, this week the S stands for Miss Minutes, and I am good, sir. I am so glad to be here. And as my background will remind us, the only time that is okay to make your sword a little longer by telling someone they're a hoe is Thundercats.
Yes. That should be your end thing, man. At the end of the show.
I'm just gonna mess it up sometime because this is gonna be like, wait, what did I say?
Well,
yeah. And remind us all, we're going to do something out of the way of the things that we drop. Remember, we're free, and please don't sue us.
That's right.
By the way, I think we should. I got to give real credit. So I was watching ESPN the other day, and so we watch a lot of wrestling. And hey, Brad, have you ever watched? So Pat McAfee, who's a part-time wrestler, he has a really good in the ring, but also he's a sports commentator with a lot of things to do with the NFL and college football. He has actually the PMS, the Pat McAfee show, and so I never really watched it till this past week. It started off as a podcast, now it's got streaming, kind of like this, but with money behind it.
Yep.
And in his intro or disclaimer before they start, they actually also say, "Please don't sue us." I thought that's like, you know what? Fair.
I like it. I like it.
It basically goes, "These are jokes. Please don't sue us." Yeah.
Yeah, so I have watched it. However, I have not heard it. I see it on the TV at work all the time. However, I just can't hear.
Yeah. One of the guys has some connection to. I don't watch it definitely routinely, but I do know it's because of the different kind of talking he has on the show. They have like swag from their favorite teams, and one of them is loaded up with Hawkeye gear. So somebody's got some Iowa connection. But
Sweet.
That is neither here nor there. While Pat McAfee is really good, and Pat, if you want to join the show, because we know you're listening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir. But today we're going to realm into all the things of our favorite things, and we're going to get a little spooky here this evening.
That's right. Yes. So, well, with that being said, man, let's talk about our favorites of the week.
All right.
You know what? You want to go first?
I'll go first. So, one of the things that wins my movie of the week, because it's the only movie I watched this week, so it wins by default. But we were just chopping up a little before the show started. Is Justice League War World. So, I'm going to give you my beardy here in a minute. Those of you that are new to the show, the beardy is because Brad and I both have a little bit of the flavor savers, the man stashes, the full on beard. You know what I'm saying? We're doing our very best Chris Stapleton impersonation. Bradley's further along than I am. And of course, I always got to give full credit to the Snidely Whiplash mustache, you know. So if you're Snidely Whiplash, that make me the dog that kind of goes, hee. I can't think of the dog's name right now. And anyway.
You're never the dog, man.
So, but it's that we both watched the most recent film coming out of DC, and it's an animated movie. Normally, DC makes really good animated movies. You've heard anything to do with our podcast. We typically are more fans of the Marvel live action and more fans of the DC animation fare. But Justice League War World, which had all the reasons to be good, it wasn't horrible. It was definitely on the scale of 1 to Andor. It's better than that.
It was better than Andor.
It was not. It didn't keep up with what either we were expecting or the previous outings. Mm-hmm. But that will win my movie of the week, honestly, by default. A couple of things that have been really good. I am really loving Generation V. They're starting to kind of take some give flesh out more of the backstory, and it makes me really excited for the next season of The Boys. And I gotta say, my show of the week though was Loki. Hence my S for my middle name this week is gonna be Miss Minutes, because I feel that Miss Minutes is stealing this season of Loki. Like, Loki's good, Mobius is good, Sylvie's okay. They haven't had enough Sylvie, if you ask me. But the dynamic with Renslayer and Miss Minutes is fantastic. And, you know, we know he may have some creepy moments, but He Who Remains, or Mr. Timely, or as we will obviously know him as Kang, we got some jumping in of that as well. But I'm really loving the Renslayer Miss Minutes where it's going on.
Nice. So what's your beardy for Justice League War World? 1 through 5.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
All right. So
and that's generous. I would have given it lower than that, but I'm using given the voice talent, especially with it, and I'm hopeful again at the end of it. I think we're moving to a Christ on Infinite Earths something.
Yeah,
I want to give a little bit of hope, so we'll give it a 3.
I'm going to share that with you, man. I'll give that a 3 beardies as well. I'm going to give it 1 for Jensen Ackles' voice as Batman.
Yes.
2 beardies for Darren Cross's voice as Superman.
Yes.
And the animation for 3. I can't go harder than this. So we're going to call this a spotty beard on somebody who thinks that they can grow a beard, so they keep letting it go, and it just
they gave us Warlord. I mean, they did some things right. They gave us
Warlord was pretty cool.
Yeah, how they treated
see him from 1975.
How they treated King Faraday and Jonah Hex specifically. That really kind of was like, really.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. So I actually, my mom, just super quick tangent. I actually had a lot of the toys from Scatardis, including Warlord, and the reason I got them is the local toy store near my house. They weren't selling very well, so my mom got them for me, thinking they were part of Masters of the Universe.
Oh, nice.
I was such a big fan of He-Man, and I go, no, but this is also cool. So you know, I kind of get that, but she really thought like Warlord was in them, because also the figures are about the same size, and obviously the look is very Masters of the Universe, especially Warlord. So I used to, in my pretend little boy World Wrestling Federation stuff, I had my first championship match was a triple threat match, was Lion-O versus He-Man versus Warlord. By the way,
who wins that?
Lion-O went over.
Okay.
Lion-O went over. It was tough,
fair.
though.
That's fair. Yeah.
Lion-O went over, though. All right.
Now, dude, since you brought it up, man, so I went to at Merle Hay. They had a toy and comic con today.
Sure.
It was nice too.
Okay.
And so I went around. I actually got you something. I got to get it to you. I got to give it to you. Next time we hang out.
We're gonna hook up for Marvels, right?
Yes, absolutely. So,
yes, sir.
And And dude, it was that was fun and
Okay.
everything, but I kept on going around seeing these toys,
Hmm.
and I'm like, I had that, and they're asking $50 for that loose
Yeah.
toy.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
like,
the
I
only
had
thing.
that. I,
That's
I
the only
actually
thing.
had to walk away from the toys, man, because it was
Yeah.
making me too depressed. And then I
Yeah.
started going through the comics, and I'm like, 175. I have that. And
Yes.
so now I've come to the realization I need to get my comics graded. Like
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna start. So I think I'm gonna do
Yeah.
like 1 or 2 a month. I think I'm gonna
I've got
pick a
boxes
couple.
in my guest room that I'm sure I need to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I had so many. I had the amount of GI Joe, Master of the Universe,
Mhm.
Thundercat, like now collectible
Yeah.
action figures, many of which some of them I even had kept in the box. I started to understand like that maintains the value. Then
Yeah.
I went to college and bro, legitimately, like I'm 3 weeks into college and my mom calls me going, "Hey, I'm gonna rent your room out for some extra money." All right. She goes, "So all your dolls?" I don't really care. Dad was all about gotta call him out the boys. My boys don't play
Yeah.
with dolls. I
Yeah.
really couldn't care.
Yeah.
Call what
Yeah. I
you
mean,
want.
like it's fine.
But she basically go, I had a garage sale and I sold all of my stuff. She go, I sold them for $50. The entire collection, my dude.
Oh.
That's why it actually kind of hurts my heart to go to like collectible shows
Yeah.
because I'll see those. Like I had like the full,
Yeah.
like the life size Sword of Omens
Mhm.
that is now like $800 if
Mhm.
it's worn, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I kept my stuff in pristine condition.
Oh
I didn't
man.
make my bed, but I kept up my collectibles. I ain't gonna front. And I was
Right.
like, 50.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
man,
yeah.
did you at least give you the $50? Oh, dude. Oh man.
Mom, rest in heaven. I love you to death, but
Yeah. Man, why is there not a Thundercats comic?
Thunder. They've had multiple versions of. They've never
Have they?
sold us. They've never done
Mm.
as well as the series, and they've also with the series. They've played with it so many times. They made that god awful comedic version of it, and then they tried making it more dark, making it darker. Where what was it? Wiley Kit was in love with Mumra or something like
Oh,
that. It was just
yeah.
like, and then
Bad
like
writers.
yeah, like half the Thundercats didn't like Lion-O. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking like half the Thundercats wouldn't like Tigra. No one likes Tigra. Give me
Right.
Bengali. I can't. No one likes Tigra, but whatever.
Yeah, I did pick up Predator versus Wolverine #1
Mm,
today. So
nice,
yeah, I got to get
nice.
that added onto my poll because that is one. Plus my all well one of my favorite comic book writers, Benjamin Percy, is writing it. Benjamin Percy, he's been doing Wolverine for a
Sure,
long time, and
sure.
he did probably the best Green Arrow has been in a long
Okay,
time a
all
couple
right.
years ago. So any of the Teen Titans as well for
Nice,
Rebirth. So all right,
nice.
cool.
All right, before we jump to,
Any
I got
yeah,
one quick question for you as an early tag.
yeah.
So if you've been studying the interwebs, all the chatter, do we think we're getting Dazzler, and more importantly, for a lot of people,
T
are we
Swift.
getting Taylor Swift
Oh,
as Dazzler?
absolutely, man. I
Okay.
think so. I think I think it's a no-brainer. She's friends with Blake Lively,
Hmm.
so therefore she knows Ryan Reynolds.
Yep.
I
She's in the
mean,
crew. She's friends. There were photos with her with the director, and she apparently
yeah,
is also really cool with Hugh Jackman. And obviously, they've gone to like every Chiefs games together.
yeah,
So and she actually makes sense. If you take out all the
it
things,
does.
she's a singer. She actually, you can look at photos of Dazzler from the comics. You can look at T Swifty. Oh God, I just did it. You can look at Taylor Swift,
Yeah,
and you can see it. You can
you
really
can.
see it. So, and honestly, the cool thing is, as long as they don't soften Deadpool and make sure Deadpool stays Deadpool,
Mhm.
her fan base is huge and it's earned. I know.
It is.
I
It
play.
is.
I like to make fun of Taylor Swift and
Mhm.
Travis Kelce because it's so extra. But she actually is a good artist. She's a good performer. She's got a dedicated fan base, and if that fan base gets translated over to especially a series of movies that typically are rated R.
Yeah.
So I mean, please don't soften Deadpool. It can be really good.
So She must have known that you were talking about Taylor Swift because there she is.
Well, you know what they say. If you say Taylor Swift's name 3 times in the mirror, a young girl between 8 and 14 will appear behind you in yoga pants. So there
That's
we go.
right.
It's me.
L-
Hi.
oh gosh,
On the phone.
she.
And T. Hi.
I don't know what to do right now.
Everybody.
Do I start singing
I'm right.
death metal?
I'm right here with you.
I
You're-
don't.
You're in a
five
safe
finger
place.
death punch.
You're-
Oh, reminds me of
I'm
something.
holding your hand through the computer, my friend.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
got
This is hi, Leia. Do you want to say hi?
Oh yeah.
Say hi. You want to sing some Taylor Swift in the microphone? Go ahead.
It's me. Hi.
She's the problem. It's me.
I am the problem. You're welcome.
You're
There is
welcome.
only. Feel free to share with Princess Leia. The only acceptable Taylor Swift song is "Bad Blood" with her and Kendrick
I don't
Lamar.
want to play with it right now.
Okay, well, no, leave that alone. All right, kiddo. Say bye to Brian. We're gonna get going on the podcast.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
All right. So, dude, a new album came out this
Okay.
week, and yes, the Taylor Swift version of 1989 did come out. But I was cycling through the albums, the new releases, and Dawkins has a new album out.
Really?
Dawkins.
Really?
And dude,
Really? Please,
It's
it's got to
awesome.
be good. It's got to be
it
good.
is
Seeing
awesome.
the look on your face, it's got to be good.
I listened to that probably more than I should have. But
Okay.
yeah, man, it was dude, like it. I was rocking out hard to Dawkins. I am not ashamed to admit it, dude. George Lynch is a freaking amazing guitarist. Don Dawkins still has those vocals. But yeah, man, the new Dawkins album.
Okay.
You download it for free. I mean,
All
get,
right. I
whatever
got
you
you.
whatever
I
you
got
have your
you.
music
I got
on,
you.
man.
Yeah,
Check it
yeah,
out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel you. All right. So that actually will probably be a thing for tomorrow. I got to at least try this and let's see where we're at. So we will unpack more of that this week. So stay tuned. I'm sure that'll be a thing. All right.
Awesome. All right. And okay, my TV show
Yes, sir.
is of course the same one as you because Loki episode 4. I think I've watched it 4 times. It is so freaking good. And you're right, Miss Minutes, because that's Tara Strong, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, great voice actor.
Always. Yep.
So good. She's fantastic. Miss Minutes is great. Every character in that show is great, but
yes,
there is a couple that is standing out. And Victor Timely is a really freaking cool character,
right?
He
is so odd, but then once you get, then you realize the oddity is what makes him so good. It's like, okay.
I mean, like the second you saw him, you knew exactly what he was going for. Like,
right.
This is Marvel, like Nicholas Tesla. This is it.
This is exactly it. There it is. It is exactly it. And just then yet interaction with him and OB, that is all of those things is really good. And I just love the way they kind of like with Batman animated series. You have this really advanced place, but the way it looks is so old school. I mean, it looks like a set out of Mad Men. Like everything is everything is just antiquated and analog, but that plays into the idea of time and clocks ticking and all those things. Just reinforces that second by second, bit by bit. And I'm just like, again, to give them all the credit in the world, they took, again, I've said this probably in the majority of our podcast, what Marvel does so incredibly well is they take the smaller, even sometimes obscure characters, and that's what leads so many of their most successful projects. And they do it again. They do it again. Because, again, it shows you, number one, the depth of their catalog, but also when you get acting talent, if you give them good writing and good structure, they can run with it. And that's what they've done. And seriously, Owen Wilson and Loki, as much as I love the Chris Hemsworth, the Thor and Loki dynamic, just that one, I think it might have been episode 3, maybe it was episode 4, when he sees kind of the sculpture of the Norse gods, and he goes, and first of all, he's not in it, and he goes, and then you have, because this is what a true friend would do. Oh, I'm so sorry you're not in that, and your handsome big brother is right there, and he wasn't that tall anyway, and as the storm's off, I'm like, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, they did nail Odin though. They it was that was good. That was good.
Yes, that was.
Yeah, man, that show I am so excited for this week
Yes.
because like man, that felt like that could have been a finale
True. True. True.
and
True. True.
we
True.
all would have been mad about it. I mean,
Yes.
really, oh man. By the way, that's a 5 beardy. That is a 5 beardy episode, dude. Like, man, that is probably my favorite episode so far of Loki's season
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So good.
So it's getting stronger, and we're really excited for it.
Yep.
And again, in a couple weeks, we got coming up. We got Bass Reeves coming up this coming week.
Ink Master.
And then, of course, in 2 weeks, well, a little less than 2 weeks now, Marvels, which looks incredible.
Yes, man, and we will be going to we'll either do Thursday night or we'll go to that Friday.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Yeah,
all right.
we'll talk about that. But all right,
let's do it.
My movie,
yes, sir.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
I was gonna watch because I know streaming on Peacock, but how was it?
Man, I've never played the games.
Okay.
I don't know a lot of the lore. It's great. It's a great fun movie. I didn't have to know all the lore. I am going to be doing a special episode of the Fandemic on Wednesday with my daughter Kendall and one of her friends Will from out at college, and we're gonna go into the lore. They're gonna fill me in on everything that I missed. It's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, man, like it's great. Like it's a good freaking movie. It was a low budget. It felt
sometimes with these types of movies, low budget is better.
Yeah,
low budget is better.
This was perfect. Like this hit all the marks of something that I like, and it was something that I took Leia to, and she really enjoyed it. I mean, there's a few jumpy parts in it, but I mean, she's 11, and she sat through Saw.
Give us her age, so she's 11. She sat through Saw, so that'll come up later in something I'm going to talk about. But with that, and she got through Five Nights at Freddy's. So again, if you're talking to those kids that are in those tween years, quote unquote, again, if they're the lead on their music is Taylor Swift, they can probably still get through this. By the way, if you have a kiddo that their favorite music is Taylor Swift, you need to expose them to Saw just to get the balance.
Right.
That's right. That's right. Middle. Okay.
100%. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Although I wasn't ready to take her to Exorcist Believer.
Probably need to wait a minute.
We're gonna hold off on the Exorcist.
Yeah. Generally, especially the good exorcism movies, you might want to wait a little bit about that.
Yeah. I will say this with Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm gonna give this a 4 beardies.
Okay.
And this is about me. I was about right for this.
All right.
And I liked it, I think, more than some of the super fans liked it.
Okay.
I think that there may have been a couple of things that the super fans didn't get that they wanted, and then therefore they weren't, because that's what I heard when I was asking people when I was coming out of the movie. But yeah. All right. Brian.
Yes, sir.
What are we talking about today?
Well, if you didn't know, this is the month of October. We are recording on October 29th, 2023. So as we all know, All Hallows Eve, Halloween, and in Iowa, we have Beggar's Night. But we all know this is supposed to be the month that we are all want to be scared. So we're going to talk a bit about our scary movies. On top of that, though, Bradley, if we have space, I've got room for an honest ad potentially, and I've even got a few tats that we got time for.
Yeah, we got time.
Let's roll through. Yeah. But what we're going to start with, we haven't done one of our countdowns in a while.
Yeah.
We're going to start off with what we consider our scariest movies, our favorite movies in this Halloween-esque. And before we get into our list, Brandon, if you don't mind going first, Brad and I never discuss our list beforehand. So it's always kind of fun to see if we match. And more often than not, we have a lot of things in common. I'm kind of curious where we're at today, sir.
Yeah, so I got a list of 15. And I really only have a top 5.
Okay.
And everything else is kind of will be number. I mean, like I don't have a number for them.
Again, very similar.
So, dude, I thought that this was going to be a lot harder than it was.
Yep.
Because when I sat down, because I'm like, man, I was trying to think like, what are well, first I was trying to define favorite. Did I want to feel like in a favorite scary movie as something that scared me, or something that like that I didn't like? Because there is a movie, The Children of the Corn, scares the crap out of me. I didn't put on my list because I can't rewatch that movie.
Outlander. We have your woman, Outlander.
Yeah.
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 So, by the way, there's a whole slew of adult movies that start
Mm.
off with "We Have Your Woman." Just throwing it out there. So go ahead,
That's right.
sir.
All right. So number 15.
Yes, sir.
Uh, and I did number them all, but
Okay.
just keep when I hit the top 5, that's gonna be it.
Sure.
So 15, I put Doctor Sleep.
Ooh,
Doctor
good
Sleep. It
one.
was the
Good
sequel to The
one.
Shining. It's a
Good one.
Stephen King movie, and I was going back and forth between
Yes.
this and The Mist,
Oh, Miss is
but
also really good. Yeah.
it is. However, I've watched Doctor Sleep more times than I've watched The Mist,
hmm
except for the ending of The Mist. I have watched that several times.
Everyone, if you don't know the ending of The Mist,
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah.
The entire movie's worth it, but
Mhm.
that ending. First off, it's hard. Those of us that watch a lot of movies, a lot of times we can see and that's not even a bad thing. We see where the ending is going because that means it probably is logical where the
Yeah,
ending's going. But the Mist one kind of stuck me. I was like, oh wow,
yeah.
like I was like,
A minute more.
oh.
Ooh.
Um, thank
A
you. A
mi-
minute more. And if you want to know what we mean, no spoilers on this one. You can even YouTube the end of it.
Yeah,
Let's put in the ending of The Mist.
yeah. And then they even turned it into a TV show that wasn't near as good.
No,
But yeah,
no, usually not. Usually not.
yeah. All right. Then after that, I went to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I know there's a lot of
This is me
different,
doing the chainsaw over the head. Yeah,
right, Leatherface.
yeah,
Um,
Leatherface.
I've. It's not that I've seen it a bunch. I've watched it. I actually like
Sure.
the 2004 version. I think a lot because
Was that the one with Paul White or not Paul
I
White?
think
Matthew
so.
McConaughey or Paul? Gentleman from Fast
Yeah,
and the Furious. I can't think of his last name now. Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think so. I think Jared Padalecki was in it as well. I think, but yeah, I mean, like it was fantastic. It's one of those like you watch. It's on.
Mhm.
You watch it. Who doesn't like Leatherface, man?
Right. I
Um,
won't. You ever think if Michael Myers and Leatherface went to a bar, they might go, you.
nothing but love.
Yeah. What's your care routine? Does it ever like dry you out? Like, do you moisturize? Like,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah, and I
yeah.
wonder if there's a contest with them and Jason.
You know,
You know?
you know, this is so sad, but true. They could show how my mind works. Like Jergens or some of those skincare, they should really, at least in October, have like
Yeah.
Leatherface and Michael Myers and Pinhead. Go, no matter what your skin's like, we got something for you.
Oh,
We got
and you
something
got to
for
get
you.
William Shatner to do the
Of
narration.
course, you've got to get Shatner.
You have
And
to.
if you don't know Shatner, you don't know
You
Michael Myers history.
have.
So check it
Right?
out.
Right? Yeah.
You must have this product.
This
Yeah.
Jergens. It
Yes.
feels good
Yes.
on your
Yes.
face.
Yes. Yes. And hear him yell, Myers. It'll be great. It'll be great. It'll be great.
All right. So after that, I put The Others. It was a ghost
Mhm.
story with
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman
Yep.
in it,
Yep.
and it was one of those. I wouldn't necessarily say it was super scary, but it
But the reveal
definitely
was great.
leaves
Again,
you.
talk about a movie with a really good twist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is a rewatchable one. This is one
Oh
that you
yeah.
can watch over and over again
Yep.
and
Pick up more
see all
stuff.
the small things. Yes.
Yeah. It's like the house on Hill, the haunted at Hill House.
Yes. Yes.
Every time
yes.
you're like, oh, So after The Others, man, 1994's greatest movie, probably, at least horror movie, Bram Stoker's
Dracula.
Dracula.
1 second.
Gary Oldman.
Whoa. I just wanted him to drop one whoa in the
Right?
movie. I wanted
Oh,
one.
man.
Whoa. But he didn't, and that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Bram Stoker's Dracula. It brought back the vampire movies.
By the way, that was more realistic than that last Matrix movie we got exposed to.
No, yeah, it was.
That
Yeah.
was way more realistic. Hey, there's a bloodsucking vampire. Or the guy from Watchmen is really Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
Is he?
Whoa.
Oh. Lawrence, why aren't you in the movie? Watch it.
Yeah.
Just watch it. Yep.
All right. So after Bram Stoker's, I couldn't make this list without Saw. Saw, man,
Sure.
they made 10 of these, man, and they're good. They're fine. They're fun. I won't say they're fun to watch, but they're kind of fun to watch. I mean, like the
Sure.
traps. I mean, you want to see and you want to know the ending, how everything goes together.
Yes, sir.
Because the entire time you're like, you feel like a dumbass because you didn't see it.
Yeah, I got you.
And so good. So good. And so next I have Heredity, a movie that
Ooh,
apparently is saying that it like a lot of places say that Heredity is the scariest movie ever made.
huh?
I've read that on like 2 or 3 different sites. And I was going through some horror movie stuff, and I was like, I don't remember being super overly scared during
Sure.
Heredity, but okay,
All
cool.
right. Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
so. Um, after Heredity, one of my all-time this is more of a psychological horror movie. The Mothman Prophecies. Richard
Mm,
Gere, Deborah Messing, man, that movie, dude, from the beginning where the dude drove 400 miles in 2 hours and
yes.
walks up to a house and dude puts a shotgun in his face and he's like, "You've been
Yes.
here every night for the last 4 nights." Dude, you're hooked.
Yep.
You are hooked. Line,
Yes.
sinker, man. Like you have to watch the rest of the movie. Absolutely. Absolutely. After the Mothman Prophecies, and I think we've talked about this movie on the podcast before,
Okay.
but I don't think a lot of people remember this movie. And it is listed as a horror movie, but it's also more like a horror comedy, I guess.
I got a couple of those. Yep.
Yeah. House 2 from the early 80s.
Yes.
Man, it
Yes.
had with Gramps, the old Western guy,
Right.
and
Right.
every door in the house takes you to a different, time and whatever. Which the whole thing about House should be remade today. It would be awesome. The synopsis. We may even do a Prevenge episode of House and how we could revitalize that.
Absolutely.
Do you remember that movie?
I do remember that movie.
Yes.
I do remember.
Yes.
Come on now. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right. And I couldn't pick if I wanted to put Nightmare on Elm Street or if I wanted to put Friday the 13th. So
Sure.
then I thought, I have actually watched Freddy vs. Jason more times than none of them. So yes, I put Freddy vs. Jason on
That
there.
was such a good movie.
It
It also should have been
was,
the
man.
end,
Yes.
and it wasn't. But it was really good because I liked it. I liked it. Not to steal your time.
Oh, you're fine.
I liked it more of how they treated Jason in it. Because I think it answered a lot of the questions about Jason, like so much like, how the hell does he keep coming back? Like Freddy is built into the Freddy mythos.
Yeah.
Like, and same thing with Hellraiser and
Mhm.
Leatherface and even in Michael Myers.
Mhm.
But Jason was always kind of odd, like of all the things that you somehow would go like, but how? But
Yeah.
really how? Like, and again, with all these, we know there's a lot of suspension of disbelief. But I know for me personally, whenever I watch any Friday the 13th movies, I literally go, now how'd he come back from this one?
Yeah.
Because apparently this is the way we kill him. We figured it out, and this isn't it. So yeah, and I also wonder how both he and Michael Myers catch anyone because they never run.
Yeah.
They never flipping run.
They have the up down teleportation like Mortal Kombat. Of course.
And they have that, and they're both these big lurking, hulking people. Like, how do they sneak up on anyone? Like, hey, dude, hey, somebody's bought a hockey mask and didn't have a face, right? Nike got just do it. What? Murder,
right?
Okay, yeah.
See, dude, Nike, we're available for you.
Yeah, nominal finder's fee. Nominal finder's fee.
We'll help you out. We got this for you. We got
you. We got you.
Yeah. All right. After Freddy vs. Jason, a movie. I'm gonna see if you can guess it. I'm just gonna name a couple of the actors that are in it.
Okay.
All right. And also, I should have looked up the quote, but Viggo Mortensen.
Okay. The Prophecy.
Dude. See, this is why we are related. This is why you're my brother.
You have to go any further,
dude. I didn't even have to go any further.
Viggo Mortensen, Christopher Walken, yes, sir.
Eric Stoltz, man.
Yes.
I need to look up that quote. The Viggo Mortensen's quote is Lucifer.
Oh my God. I remember though for Walken, I remember he said something to the effect of when he puts the hand over their lip and goes, this is when you were in your mama's belly and I told you a secret. That's creepy as hell. Like, dude, and when the did Elias Cotis play the detective? I forget the priest. I think he did. But the female lead, I should just look it up. I remember when she talked about, because I didn't catch it the first time watching the movie, that when she talked about she met the devil, I'm like, damn. Because he even then he had the Vigo hair, as I now call it. That even though he's supposed to be this dark, demonic, truly the source of all evil, the wind just kissed his hair just perfectly.
Yeah.
And how he needed to walk through 2 oaken doors to be cool. But yes, like you said, all you had to do was go Vigo, and I knew where that. Or he could have also been, you could have went 28 days. I think he was also the devil in that. So whatever works.
All right, here's a quote. Here's the quote from the movie that I was looking for. All right, you see, I'm not here to help you, little bitch, because I love you or because I care for you.
Yes, sir.
But because 2 hells is 1 hell
too many. Oh,
and
wow.
I can't have that. Gabriel, this war is mine. Your war is arrogance, and that makes it evil.
All right, quick question for you. The Prophecy or Legion? Which
Prophecy.
one? Prophecy, okay.
Prophecy, man.
Fair.
Dude, Paul Bettany's great in that, and Legion is a good movie, man. But,
and it's nice to know we have an albino angel. It's really nice to know that. It's really nice to know that, yes.
But, dude, I love the Prophecy so much. Man, that had a great soundtrack, too.
And it was truthfully scary. Like, it was really... we were around the same age, so I remember I think we were both been fairly young when that movie came out, and I remember watching it and the imagery was deeply disturbing.
Yeah,
when they showed the ramifications of the war in heaven on the angels, I was like, yo, like somebody really twisted. Like Eli Roth's daddy had to make this. Like, you really are twisted to make this.
Yeah,
so absolutely. Prophecy is a great pick.
Prophecy should come back. Like you could,
but you got to go
Prophecy.
Because they kind of softened it again because the first one was so dark, and I think it was disturbing in a good way. But you're right. Talk about something that could be a Netflix series.
Oh God, man, that'd be so good. That'd be so good, and everybody would like it.
Absolutely.
All right, my top 5.
Let's hit it.
Are you ready for this?
I'm with you.
Number 5, The Lost Boys.
Okay.
Probably my favorite vampire movie ever.
I mean, it's Lost Boys and everything else. I mean, especially if anybody likes Twilight, watch The Lost Boys.
That's right, man. And you get vampires playing saxophones shirtless. What else do you need?
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, you get a vampire like 8-year-old. Dressed as Sergeant Pepper. Come on.
Yeah.
And of course, in the 80s, let's just say it with me, Jamie Gertz.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4. Army of Darkness. The Army of Darkness. I was trying to figure out if it wanted Evil Dead 1, 2, or Army of Darkness on there.
It's got to be Army of Darkness.
I love that movie. So I watched Army of Darkness before I watched Evil Dead 1 or 2.
Same.
And Army of Darkness, like anybody listening to the podcast knows we like our camp.
Yes, and we love
like
some Bruce Campbell. We love Bruce Campbell. He's on our Mount Rushmore. Absolutely.
He is even if it's just his chin.
With mustard though. There's got to be mustard. Thank you, Dr. Strange. Yes.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, man. Army of Darkness, I love that movie so much.
Just real quick, I'm getting to my list obviously at some point, and that's fine. Take your time. I did not add Army of Darkness, and I'm so regretting not putting Army of Darkness on there. So good. I don't know how I missed that one.
All right. Well, you still have time. You can still add it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 3. No, I cheated a little bit on my number 3.
Okay.
I put It Part 1 and 2.
Fair.
Okay, so because I mean, like, really,
it's
the
new
together.
It, not the old school with not the original.
Not the Tim
with
Curry. I put the Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Did you know he's Eric Draven?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And I actually considered putting Crow on there, but I couldn't really classify it as a horror.
Okay.
I mean, but that's okay. All right.
It gave us Sting's best version, so I mean, you could give it a little bit of credit there. How they were not sued. That was such the amount of money. Again, we're down in the wrestling now, folks.
Yeah.
The amount of money that WCW, which is owned by AOL Time Warner at the time, made off of, now by WWE, made off of that whole Crow, and it wasn't inspired by, it was a direct flipping ripoff of that, which he is still doing, by the way.
Yeah.
How on earth there was not some type of, look, this to the point of copyright infringement. Like, the entire outfit, the music, other than he had a scorpion instead of a crow, but all of his entrance music had the crow cawing when he came out. Like, come on now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All he needed was Ernie Hudson walking out to the ring with him.
This is
How
true.
that didn't happen. Now
That would have been awesome.
Ernie probably could have used the check. So all right,
and then who are you gonna call, man? Who are you gonna call?
That'll come up in a minute. All right, sir, go for it.
Damn it! I didn't put Ghostbusters on here. All right, number 2, The Conjuring.
Ooh,
dude, I love that movie.
The universe is really good too. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's why, because it's one of those, like, when a new Conjuring movie comes out,
Yep.
I want to watch it.
Right.
Like, I want to watch it, man.
Right.
Really made well.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just good.
It's one of a series of that give you authentic jump scares. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Some of these things, like, it's just gore. It's just meant to gross us out.
Mm-hmm.
Versus this is like, oh, dude, yeah, 100%.
And my number 1
is there.
I had to go with probably the ultimate horror movie.
All right.
The ultimate scary movie.
Okay.
Pea soup and all. The Exorcist. The original Exorcist. Man, the amount of thinking that your brain goes through as you're watching that movie, and you're like, this is made 50 years ago. We just had the 50th anniversary of it a few weeks ago at B&B.
Yeah.
And man, it holds up. It holds up, man. It is so good. I wouldn't suggest watching that and then watching the newest Exorcist movie a week later. Don't do that, because you're not gonna like the new one as much.
Well, it's similar to like the Pope's Exorcist.
Yeah.
The amount of things that it influences, but sometimes the first will always be the best.
Yep.
And if I was writing my version of Scream, of the things that will help you survive when all else fails, it is you get yourself a young priest and an old priest, and pretty much don't hang out in a room with a small girl who throws pea soup at you.
Yeah. That's it.
That is a hell of a list, man. That was a great list.
Thank you, man. Thank you. All right, I am excited. You gotta tell me, do we have any crossover?
We have 2.
We have two crossovers.
Two.
Okay.
We almost had a third, and then you said you didn't add it, but we had 2 definites. All right. So here we go. So similarly, again, I have 15. So I have my top 5. And again, folks, we legit don't talk about any of this.
No.
I have my top 5, and I have one of my honorable mentions. So here's how I did my list. I did the movies that I find scary or meant to be scary, and none of the ones that my top 5 really ones that authentically either scared me the most, or especially, and a lot of this was based on when I was watching them.
Mm-hmm.
And then my honorable mention are the ones that I really just enjoy. Many of them have a lot of scary things, but those ones that I watch over and over again.
Okay.
So here we go. So here are my honorable mentions. I won't talk too deep in them, but we do have some similar. In fact, as the first one is a similar. I cheated on my first 2 because I had a hard time picking a movie out of a series. So my first 2 are series. So up first, and again, is the Saw series. Okay.
Nice.
And Saw is hard because the movies change so much between movies. You could put Saw 1 and a little bit of Saw 2 in a completely different realm than the other 8, right? And then you had the whole deal of how much it is John versus how much is the Costas Mandalore character, how much of them trying. I did a lecture asked to a group of students yesterday. Actually, I'm trying to think. I did a couple different ones. Yeah, and one of the things that actually came up, we're talking about different systemic things in the world of social work. And I mentioned that Saw 6 is actually completely about insurance companies and how they treat people, and they were like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, go watch Saw 6." So I mean, there's so much with that. So Saw series is gonna be one of my number 15 as we go up. Next up is the Final Destination movies.
Oh
I
damn!
just really have all, even when they got beyond silly, I've always liked them. Like, I think it was about 4 or 5 months ago, I legit, because they're all on Max, just watched them all in like 3 days. Well, really 2 days, because and I just really just
Devon Sawa.
yeah, yes, yeah, and similar to the idea of even with the Saw movies, I think that's why I like them both. They're very similar. Is you don't watch these for the deep
Mhm.
storyline and a rich character development. You watch to see how is Death going to interact with it, or how is John's traps going to work, and of course you really watch the Final Destination for Tony Scott. I mean, come on. And by the way, Tony Scott, you're going to come up again here in a little bit.
Candyman. Oh,
See? It's proof we're brothers, man. All right. Next up, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Just
there.
more than Scream. More than Scream. I've always enjoyed I Know What You Did Last Summer
Jennifer Love
more.
Hewitt. I mean,
Yeah. Okay, let's go. What do you want? What do you? Could you imagine being the cameraman for that scene?
I know.
Oh, he won the lottery that day. I'm good. I'm so good. I'm so good. Speaking of which, if you the scary movie series, literally the scary movie series, franchise that are really led by the Wayans brothers. The first three, especially, they were so spot on. The first one actually, and I came close on honorable mention. The first one, the actual first scary movie, which is again a spoof,
Yeah.
actually had legit scary moments. Like they got sillier as they went on, but definitely the first one actually had a couple things. I mean, it actually had kind of a Usual Suspects vibe to it, so that
Anna
was really good.
Faris, man, she's
Yes.
so underrated.
Did you know? Now, the reason I know is because when the show Mom was on, there was an interview with her, and she told like she legit, it was that classic Hollywood story. She started off as a model, and they literally picked her up off the street. She
Whoa.
literally was walking down the street. I forget what city. I don't even think it was New York, where she literally got stopped and go, you really have a look. We feel what matched with his ad campaign." And then she jumped into the House Bunny and the Scary Movie series, and then Mom and a few other things. So yeah. So Anna Faris there. Next up, primarily because let's really dig the movie. It's got the man with the best hair in the world, other than you, Bradley, Timothy Oliphant, and it supposedly takes place in the state of Iowa. What movie is it, sir?
It's the crap!
You got it almost.
Not Getaway. Not the
Crazies.
Strangers.
The Crazies.
The Crazies. That's right.
Yes.
It was filmed in Iowa.
Yes, I know. And it's supposed to right outside of Cedar Rapids, even though the town that the crazy actually happened. But you gotta love this. Those of us that live in Iowa, if you can make softball in springtime in Iowa turn into the beginning of a tragedy, we're here for it.
Yeah, we are.
I actually watched it with my son and one of his really good friends when it first came out, and we just three of us loved it. It's always one of the ones I revert to a lot. Next up, and I will say the next two, I am really surprised they weren't on your list, but everybody's got flavor to show how deep it is. I am just gonna say 4 words, and it should let you know the movie. I See Dead People.
So it was going to be, but it was too much like the others to me. So
Fair.
I was trying to decide which one to do it. Was it going to be Sixth Sense, or was it going to be exactly? I know I wanted something from M. Night on there, and really it was either going to be Sixth Sense or Signs.
Fair. True.
But yeah. So it was close. That was a close one.
Yes. He gave us Haley Joel Osment before he went on AI on us. Next up, this was a Swedish film that became Americanized, and I've seen both, but the American version I think is superior. Let Me In. Talk about a great vampire movie.
And you're right. That was Chloe
Grace Moretz.
Yes. Yeah, she, man,
Yes.
That's a good freaking movie.
And
Wasn't she Carrie in the updated Carrie as well?
She was an updated Carrie, yes. This one obviously let me in. I think it's better than updated Carrie. It
Agreed.
was tremendous. It was done by Matt Reeves, who's just got a great
Yeah.
category as well. I mean, it's really, really done extremely well. And just there's so many scenes of that are really awesome. But really the idea of it when Richard Jennings, who plays, her adult, basically familiar, is probably the best way of looking at it.
Yeah.
When he has that car accident, and he had that very ominous jar of liquid that we didn't know what it was, and you see it playing out. So you see him just sitting there taking deep breaths because he can't get out of the car. He knows the cops are coming, and he starts slowly unscrewing the jar, and you see him like steadying himself for something, and you're not sure what it is, and he pulls it on his face, and that's where I'll stop. And if you've not seen Let Me In, it's really good. It's very dark, and it's almost sweet. It is all. I mean, seriously, it is almost sweet.
Yeah.
With different themes in the movie, including how it ends. So if I'm going to say it's without going the world of Twilight, romantic part of this. If you're going to do a romantic vampire movie and it's not going to be Dracula, this is the one. This is the one.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, hey, who you going to call?
Ghostbusters.
I just had to put it in here. I know it's not, compared to a lot of other things here, a scary movie, but it's about ghosts. It had a couple jump scares. Again, it was the first movie I ever saw, and at the beginning, again, I would have been really young. And when they go to that library and they see that first full body apparition, and they try and engage with her, and she shushes them, and then when Aykroyd tries again, and then she just does the full trans, and they see him running out, I was like, oh, like that was my first real time seeing like think about this was the early to mid 80s.
Yeah,
the special effects of this, and you took really two primarily actors we knew from sketch comedy, and Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, and then you brought in Harold Ramis and Ernie Hudson, and what easily could you just call a comedy? It is a comedy, has funny moments.
Yeah,
they made a really good supernatural movie, and the sequels, other than Afterlife, I really dug Afterlife. The sequels have not been held up to this, but it's a classic, right?
Yeah.
But Afterlife, I think, was a really good kind of retelling of it. They were able to send Harold Ramis off in a way that I really think was cool to see. All right,
agree.
Last thing before I get into my top 5. Again, I love the show. I actually love that this is one, again, is meant to be scary, but it becomes a little tongue-in-cheek in a great way. He's your buddy to the end, Chucky and Child's Play. Just, again, one of those, especially the first one, authentically scary. Similar to Leprechaun, which almost made the list.
Yeah,
the first one's authentically scary. Then, they play into it a little bit, but the series is kind of bringing it back. I actually do count this as a horror movie, The Crow. So Eric Draven, R.I.P. to Jason, to Bruce and his kid and all the fun things. Not as good as The Wraith, but still really good. And my last one, I would say this movie does not have any horror in it other than the theme of it is a vampire movie. But if I compare it to what I think is the hardest movie in the world to watch, which is my number one, my last one, my honorable mentions, Bradley, I'm gonna throw one more out to you. It's a vampire movie. It stars Jim Carrey.
Once Bitten.
Yes, sir. Once Bitten. For another reason, it shows that Jim Carrey is a hell of a dancer.
Yeah.
Great.
It's true.
Yes. All right, so that was my honorable mentions. Here we go for my top 5. Again, these are the ones that honestly scared me the most for different reasons, and also a lot of it had to do with how old I watched them.
Yeah.
But number 5, the original Paranormal Activity. That movie fucked me up. I ain't got another way to say it. That movie, forget my language, that movie scared the ever living thing. I had to use the restroom after that movie. I
had to take a fake pee in that movie, man.
Thank you.
It was like I gotta go to the bathroom just to catch my breath for a few minutes. Just be like,
yes,
all right.
Whoo! Oh God! Oh, just I'm even going back to this. Whoo! My whoo!
Yeah.
Saw that. My nephew saw it. Threw his drink at the screen and ran. Okay.
That's awesome.
So when that movie came out, this is when smartphones were first really coming out. So you had internet connectivity, but it wasn't great. And so in the theater, my phone didn't have any internet connectivity. I tell you what I did the fastest. I got outside as soon as I had enough bars. I Googled that movie to see if it was real or not. I was like, I ain't going home. I was like, no, no. The only thing I said about that movie was, you know what? Sometimes Mika just should die. If you're a grown man named Mika, you should die.
Yeah, that's fair.
You should die. It is fair. Okay. Again, movie that I just love. It was scary when I was younger. Now I just love it because it shows you how you make like I said, you want to make a sweet vampire movie, let me in as a blueprint. If you want to make a cool, sexy movie about vampires, it's Lost Boys. It is Lost Boys. There's you try to make me a killer. You are a killer.
Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland, man.
Dude, that scene when he's been impaled on the deer antlers, which I didn't quite get because I don't know if deer antlers count as wood, but all right. But that's oh God, what's the name of the band? The song "Thou Shalt Not." The song is it? I forget the name of the band that does the song in his death scene. But that was just so. They've got the backlight. It's very ethereal. You know, Keith Sutherland, especially when he was younger, was just a really good looking guy. And you got that Stark scene, and again, which gave birth to the end of the Day Shift movie that we saw with Snoop. You know, we talked about, I'll say about all these damn vampires. Fantastic. All right. So the next three are the ones that have legitimately scared me that while I watched them, the first one's the hardest one for me to watch. But these are the ones that I watch, even though I know what's coming, they authentically either scare me or creep me out. So first off is Candyman. So my number 3 is Candyman. Tony Scott. Hey, dude. He scares. He's in an episode of Psych, right? Where he plays like an undercover cop.
Yeah.
He scares me of that. I'm like, Could you imagine going on a date with a girl and you show up at the door and Tony Scott's there? Like, nah, I'm good. I'm really good. Next up is is from the Poltergeist series, but to me the scariest one wasn't the first one. It was Poltergeist 2. With the Reverend and all those things. And
that's another one that almost made my list too, man.
Yes.
And Halloween 3 almost made my list. Not the other ones, just Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Yes.
And that was the scariest one to me. It's that TV scene where like the pumpkin shrinking and man.
Yeah. I seriously would have put Carol Anna for adoption. Nope.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. Sorry. Actually, when they sucked into a television, good keeper. Well, tell her she fell. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. And then I gotta really steel myself for this one. This next film is without a doubt the scariest movie
I think I know what it
ever
is.
seen. I'll definitely let you have your chance. But let me just for the audience, I don't know if we have a disclaimer that talks about, viewer discretion is advised or listener discretion is advised. But this film about this invader, for lack of a better term. Now we talk a lot about, climate change and how as the planet's getting warmer and we see how these microbes and diseases and possibly even creatures that are from the frozen north or frozen south at the poles of our planet may come.
Yeah.
And what we do in this one is
you never know.
You don't.
You don't
You
really
really
know.
don't. And you to see this figure, I mean, call it a person is insulting.
It's like a giant around, in their homeland.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's how can I? It's almost like this creature maybe came from like the land of the lost, even. And
maybe even a box under the bed.
yeah. And as it invades our world, I think it preys on children
and little people.
And oh man. And when you think about just the history of this,
it's no buddy of mine.
No, it is nobody. And it almost like it wants to steal like your new heart. That
successfully.
And as all these things happen, and there's piece of it that's just like a ballad, and you feel like you really just gotta get hard enough to fight it, and you just realize that
that New Girl's just not for you.
I mean, you have to go to some old school rules.
Man,
sir, I can't. I'm sorry, Brad. I can't. I think Can you tell the audience what film we're talking about?
The scariest movie, the number one scariest movie for Brian S. Dennison. I know this is hard, man. I know it's hard to really talk about.
I'm sorry. I thought I could get through it. I'm sorry.
It's really hard, man. It's not a Christmas movie. Do not get it twisted.
Don't get
get this twisted.
Do not get this twisted, or even turned, It
gives Green a bad name.
We have Green Arrow. We have Green Lantern. We have the Loki. Hulk. We've got Jade. You've got Loki. You've got and you know what? We've got the Keeblers.
Yeah.
But this, please, Brad, please.
Elf. I know. I tried to say it really fast. Elf. Again.
It's please no more. Because I'm worried if you say it a third time
that person will come behind you.
The call is coming from inside the house. This is the thing that Elf is without a doubt the scariest movie I've ever seen because it's just so flipping bad. Oh my God. So for those of you that are newer to the podcast or maybe just forgotten, even though I'm sure you didn't, the movie, I try and find value in it. Even when we throw our shade at movies shows like Andor, we don't say they're like just horrible, bad, or we try to find the value in it. Anyone that knows me knows how much I hate capital H, capital A, capital T, capital E, hate Elf. And that is why whenever we do these lists for the end of time, the scariest movie, and that's what this list was, the scariest movie for Brian S. Dennison, where the S stands for Miss Minutes this week, is Elf.
Yeah.
Wait,
you said the first time. Look around.
I said it, you didn't. We're good.
Well,
we're
good. Okay. Got it.
All right.
Awesome. Well done. I think we have some good lists. Half of those, I was like, I should have had them on my list.
There's so many great ones out there.
I think between your list and my list, I think we hit a lot, all the best horror movies. I'll say it right now. I think our lists are the best horror movies that has ever been made. I almost put Jaws. Jaws almost made my list, but
okay.
And then there's a couple others that were bouncing around. But
I thought even if you go on the idea of movies that are comedy and scary, Beetlejuice could have went there. There are a lot.
Was mine, yeah.
Yeah. So there were some really good ones there. So absolutely. All right.
Let's do you got your honest ad?
I got my honest ad. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. All right. So here's my honest ad just regarding Halloween. Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
Trick or treat. Smell my feet. Give us something good to eat. If you don't, I don't care. I'll pull down your underwear. Ghosts and goblins, witches on brooms, candy corn will spell your doom. We want treats, lots and lots. We'll eat until we all see spots. Upset stomach, diarrhea. In hindsight, not the best idea. This time of year, some may dread, but for many of us, Halloween makes us lose our heads. Excitement, fun, and even shame it embeds, just like that box under your parents' bed.
Well done. I love it. I
Beyond
love it. I
sad
love
for
it.
Halloween, my
Great,
friend.
great. All right, so let's do. I have a scary story I want to read that I found on
Okay,
Reddit
hit it.
for you. And then we got we have a couple of
Yeah, I got a couple
tag.
tasks, so we'll think
Yeah,
we can
a
do
couple. Yep.
100%. Let's do it.
All right, so this is called I was 10 when the government separated me from my parents.
Huh, okay.
All right. I was 10 when the government separated me from my parents. The masked men threw me into a room, the bedroom, kitchen, and living room, if you can even call it that, were combined into one place. The bathroom was the only room that had its own area. There was a door that only men in uniform would enter through. When they left, they would lock it. The only entertainment they gave us were books, lots of
Mm,
books. They were mainly about the government and history, but there were some that were fiction. They also provided a pamphlet about the building and its history. Apparently, a guy named Jason Wilson made this place. He created it. Oh, yeah. And its history. Apparently, a guy named Jason. Oh, I already read that part. If that any national emergency took place, you could hide. I look back at life before I was trapped there. There wasn't anything that posed a threat, I think. But I've lived in that room for 5 years. So the past is a blur. I've studied that building for years, trying to find an escape, but they all came to a dead end except for one. There was a vent above the fridge. Maybe the vent would lead me to the outside world. I put an intense thought to this idea before trying. On the day of my escape, when the men left my room and locked the door, I climbed to the top of the fridge and pry the door vent open. I shimmy my way through the narrow path, my body touching all four sides of the rectangle. I started to lose hope until I saw light ahead of me. I raced to the other vent where the light was coming from and quietly opened the door of the vent. I crawled into the bush that was in front of the vent. I put the door vent back together before checking the area. The large property had many structures lined up in a row. I did find it strange that there were no guards in front of any of the buildings, but there could have been cameras. Either way, I tried to make myself as small as possible. After a few minutes of crawling, I found an entrance to the outside world. The gate was wide open, as if it was the gate knew my intentions and agreed with them. I remember reading in the pamphlet that if you were able to escape, they would find you, but won't kill you. They knew you would see the horrors that lied within the field, the breath being sucked from the person's body. So I didn't run into the air and field, but started in horror. At the sight, there were bodies that laid in a puddle of their blood. Their eyes were still open. Their fear never left them. Other bodies were decaying, letting you see their brown skulls. But I saw something that made my blood boil. They all wore the Wenil necklace. This meant they were from Wenils. I remember when they were on the news for wanting their land back. I didn't know what they meant by wanting their land back, but now I do. Some had gunshots that through their heads, and others had stab wounds. Flies swarmed around the field as I continued forward, and I found more bodies. My heart continued to sink into my stomach for each lifeless body I saw. I didn't know what to do. I heard gunshots in the distance and ran for my life. I raced into a dark cave and hid in there. I had a smell of fresh rain air, but also had an aroma of dread that filled the room. The cave was large, but the farther you went in, the narrower it became. I decided this would be a good place to hide. I've been in here for 10 years now. I've been surviving off the animals that sometimes come in. I kill them with my bare hands or a sharp object like a rock if the men weren't outside then. I would grab a cactus with my bare hands and drink what's in it. As a result of this, blood covers the stone floor, and the smell of the carcasses fill the room. A heavy blood and meat aroma consume the air, making it hard to breathe. But I've grown used to it. Sometimes I see men in uniforms pacing outside the cave, but I know if I come out, I will be beaten. They will beat me with whatever they had. A book, a bat, maybe a metal rod. I will die a slow and painful death, just like the people outside. They were just trying to protect their families. All I do for the entertainment is write this letter for anyone who reads it. The innocent people of Winelli's don't deserve this. We started the war, we took their land, and they wanted it back. They were willing to fight for it and chose to hide by putting us in the homes to hide their actions while men and women died to save their country. I will forever stand with them. I don't get this one bit, man, but okay.
Well,
It was in Scary Stories, and I try not to read these things. I just
sure,
go
sure.
off the title alone.
Well, here's the deal. Okay, so the more you talked about it, I feel some similar affinity or some similarities with an experience I had. So as they're talking about, crawling through the dank and the muck, fearing for their existence, slowly approaching the bush and being beaten with hard, heavy objects, and there's pain, there's fear, yay, even a little bit of blood. Sounds like a lot my first date. So
I mean, it's 10 years, right?
it felt like it took that long. 10 years, 10 seconds. Hey, whatever works. But
let's get let's get something better. That was horrible. Look, what do you got for a tap, man? Let's erase that horrible story.
Get rid of.
All
right, here we go. Okay, so I got a couple taps for you. See, here's the thing. So these are the ones I kind of want to know your thoughts on. So let's start off number one with which of these do you think is the scariest villain and why? So we've got Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, and by the way, with Freddy, we'll go to Robert Englund version of Freddy,
of course,
Michael Myers, and then from Harry Potter, Dolores Umbridge.
Dolores Umbridge, man,
right?
Ooh, dude, that lady is. There is something really, really scary about an old lady with magic. Like
with those creepy cats with the dishes. And by the way, if anyone went to public school, we all had a Dolores Umbridge. We all had that one teacher that was really burned out. That it probably was like one step away from being the administrator. That you go, please let me graduate before you take over. Please let me graduate. Yeah.
I mean, I think she could have beaten Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers, everybody easily. Yeah, man. Not even a competition, man. I'm gonna probably have a nightmare about her tonight.
I thought something on social media when the movies first came out, and one of the things that said, like, I think there's 7 movies, but they talked about how 7 movies about killed hundreds of muggles and magical folks, and was really responsible for Harry's scar and all these things. Yeah. To point out, the real villain was still Dolores Umbridge. Like, that's who people wanted to see be taken down.
Right.
Like, we lived on like, hey, he's just living his trauma, but it's all good. All right. So here we go. Now, question again. Okay. On the same one, give me a villain from a horror movie. That was a little tongue-in-cheek. This is more of a serious one.
Okay.
Give me a villain from a horror movie franchise.
Okay.
Single movie franchise that honestly, to this day, still scares you. Is there one?
Yeah, Mothman.
Back to the prophecies. Gotcha.
The Mothman prophecies, man. There's just something, because it's a natural disaster thing. And is he bad? or is he a warning? He's not hurting anybody, but if you see those red big eyes are coming around, like that's a warning, man. You get the hell out of Dodge.
100%.
Yeah.
Which one would you rather have happen to your house? TP'd or egged?
TP'd.
Really? I was gonna go egg. Why TP'd?
Easier to, I think TP you could just say screw it, not clean it up, just
Okay.
like whatever,
Yeah,
rain's
yeah.
gonna come, snow's
I
gonna
got
come,
you. I
you're
got you.
good. And egg, you got to clean that shit up pretty quick, man.
Yeah, I was
So
thinking
I'm
egg
gonna
would
be
be easy.
lazy about it.
I thought with the hose, you could just like, because
Yeah,
where my
that's true.
house sits is our driveway is kind of downhill from the streets. I'm like, if I got the hose out, probably okay.
Yeah.
And then I got two more. They're both pretty quick.
Oh, you're
So,
good.
which of these is in your mind the best Halloween candy? And these are the top three. I don't even know if I'd agree if these are the top three, but apparently these are the top three selling candies around Halloween. So, which of these do you think would be your favorite? And if you got another one, pick that one. But
Okay.
the top three in reverse order. So, number 3 is Snickers, number 2 is Twix, and number 1 are Reese's the Cups. So, which one of those would you say one of those is the best Halloween candy, or would you substitute something else?
Actually, Reese's peanut butter cups. Reese's peanut butter.
Yes.
And to all you people out there, it is Reese's, not Reese's.
It is Reese's, isn't it? It's not Reese's.
Reese's.
Reese's rhymes with feces. You'll never forget it now. All right. And so my last tap for you, my friend. I really enjoyed this, but here this one's gonna be tough. This is gonna take some brain power. All right. So get ready. We're gonna discuss which is the worst candy at Halloween.
Ooh.
So you've got 3 choices. They are, and feel free to substitute if you will.
Okay.
You've got candy corn, or candy corn, or candy corn.
Peanut butter taffy.
Yeah. Darn. That's bad.
Peanut
butter taffy is pretty bad.
Yeah,
and the one that orange wax paper too. Yeah,
if
that's pretty bad.
It'd be fine, but like
like you can defend yourself with peanut butter taffy.
Yeah, you can really put tacks in it and throw at people, and it could be
you would take like a slingshot, do some real damage. Like
yeah.
So I've never done this before, but I'm using as the people's champ. I'm pulling my twin brother Shamar Moore in the nipples verification with the blue check mark to overrule and go. The correct answer is
candy corn.
Candy corn. Yes, sir.
All right. Sir. I have an AITA, but I'm going to let you pick from the title alone. Okay. Are you ready for this?
All right, I'm with you, my friend.
I got an idea of which one you want to hear, and we'll talk about it for a minute.
Okay.
But, all right. Is it going to be, am I the asshole for staying with my mom during my wife's miscarriage? We probably don't even need to talk about that one. But title one.
Why is that a question?
Or
wait. No, we can't just zoom past that one. Say the title again for those in the back.
All right. Am I the asshole for staying with my mom during my wife's miscarriage?
Yes. Yes. Okay, here's the only way that is not an AITI. Here's the only way you're not the asshole. If your mother was literally the president of the United States, she was under attack, like where we got to get Channing Tatum and Gerard Butler to defend the president, and she has the codes to the nuclear weapons, and the only thing that can save her is you, homie, and your wife insists upon you leaving, and they literally have tied an electromagnet to your feet that's attached to the other end of the president's briefcase, and it sucks you across the world. You are grabbing anything you can. Only then, and only then, possibly, are you not the asshole for staying with your mom during your wife's miscarriage.
All right. Or do you want to hear that? And I agree with that.
No, I don't want to hear that one. There ain't no excuse in that one.
That's what I kind of figured. Am I the asshole Well, we're just gonna read this one, okay? Are you ready
Let's
for this?
do it. Let's go. But give it a title. I love your voice when you do it. Give it to me.
Am I the asshole for refusing to take my daughter or I'm sorry, am I the asshole for refusing to take in my daughter's sister?
All right, I want to hear before this. If you ever need a second job, if they ever bring back Unsolved Mysteries, you got the Robert Stack voice down.
Awesome.
All right, let's hit it.
I, 33 female, have a daughter, Elena. 6. Elena is the biological child of my late brother, David, and his girlfriend, Erin, who passed away suddenly 4 years ago. Erin also had another child, Sarah, now 9, from a previous relationship. When they passed, my husband and I adopted Elena, and Sarah went to live with Erin's sister, Wendy. We've kept in contact over the years so the girls can see each other, which has been difficult because Wendy has been trying to guilt us into financing Sarah's life since she is Elena's sister. Nevertheless, we've persisted in traveling to visit Wendy and Sarah at least 4 times a year. About a month ago, I got a call from Wendy. She said she is pregnant. And since she already has 3 other kids, we need to take custody of Sarah. She said she is struggling to manage Sarah's needs. Sarah has some learning delays and some behavior issues. And she is at the end of her rope. She said she and her husband are on the brink of divorce over this. My husband said, and I said no. Wendy bombarded us with messages saying she will put Sarah in foster care because if she doesn't, her kids won't have a father anymore, blaming me for ruining Sarah's life and causing her distress during her pregnancy. I've also been bombarded by messages from her extended family as well, calling us all sorts of names. I don't think it's right to take in a child unless you're sure it's something you want to do wholeheartedly. And this isn't. But at the same time, not taking Sarah in might mean Elena ultimately loses contact with her and Erin's family becomes whether she remains living with Wendy or not. I can't see continuing a relationship with Wendy after this. Again, I don't feel like it's right to just take a child like they're a piece of luggage to be traded when you're not sure. I don't think it's a healthy environment for anyone, but it's better than the alternative, right? Everyone in our lives has a vested interest. So I just want some third party, unbiased perspectives. Am I the asshole for refusing to take in my daughter's sister?
Wow, that's a tough
Yeah,
one.
that's not
Usually
where I
on
thought that one
these,
was going to go.
usually on these, just pretty clear if the person's an a-hole or
Yeah.
like they're just in a bad situation.
Right. See,
This
the one we just.
right. And again,
Am
in
I
case
the asshole
anyone
for
in the
staying with
back
my mom
missed
during
that,
my-
yes, if you stay with your mom during your wife's miscarriage,
Yeah.
in every world, in every universe, across the multiverse, for every variant that you have, you are he who remains the asshole. Okay.
Yes.
All right. But to the one that you actually got into the details and read a little bit, woo, this is tough. So here's my and honestly, without even making jokes about this one, here's the deal. Bradley, you and I are both parents.
Yep.
And if you have a child, you need to invest wholeheartedly in that. And when you have tragedies that happen,
Yeah.
if you're going to take in a child, this needs to be something you're committed to because it's not the child's fault, right?
Right.
And when you have someone that obviously the writer of this has reservations, the writer of this has doubts, and the writer of this doesn't know, and they even said it in the writing of it wholeheartedly. That's what we're talking about. So when it comes, and you don't want to feel guilty into something, you also don't want to commit to something that you know you can't do because that's how kids get yanked around. So I don't think they're the a-hole for refusing because if you have doubts. Now the other side of it is what happens if you don't do it, right? And I think
Exactly.
that's always the complicated part of this.
Man, lose here.
Yeah, so while the writer may not be the a-hole, they are selfish. Now I don't think you can, and sometimes it's okay to be selfish,
Yeah,
right?
a
It's a, yeah,
self-preservation product.
self-preservation. Sometimes it's good to put yourself first because sometimes if you don't, no one else will. But in this one, in all honesty, it is really tough. I don't think the writer's an asshole. I think the writer is being selfish. And again, even with that though, being selfish isn't always a bad thing because if you know this is something that's outside of your capacity, your framework, your skill set to do and do to the greatest extent possible, then you should have pause there. The other thing of though, they were talking about a real human being, hits the non-jokes, the real human being is in a real tough situation.
Yeah.
And what do you do next with that? So while we at Preventive Nurse have never adopted a kiddo before,
Actually, I have.
Bradley, I meant the show.
Right.
The
Yeah.
show has not adopted a. You know what? If we may have to, this is where the jokes do come, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
This is where we may have to go. Hey, you want the show to adopt you? And Leia can
Yeah.
have a hangout partner, right?
Yep.
All right, sir. What are your thoughts on it, my friend?
Man, it's a tough one, man, because like on one point, I guess it depends on your family, your family situation at the time. And I mean, you look at Elena and be like, I will really want to help you, but
Right,
maybe there's like we don't have the house, we don't have the money for it, and
right.
there's things that we can't do, you know, and we're gonna do everything we can to make sure that you still have a relationship with her. And if
Yeah.
if the situation changes,
Hmm.
maybe we can work towards that. You know, um, I feel like the other sister when they're having the other kids and everything like that,
Hmm.
I kind of feel like that's a cop out.
Yes.
For sure. And sisters being separated is never a good thing.
Right.
Especially in by losing their parents. Man, that's got to be tougher than anything, especially when you're young, man. I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine that. So these
Yes.
kids are already going through a lot, and I think that would have to take into there too. I mean, if I was the writer, if I was the OP and it was me and I'm trying to figure out, like, I would have to be like, I would do it if I absolutely could, whether I wanted it or not, because I would feel like it's the right thing to do. And I would do my best. I would absolutely do my best, because I think I would be like, well, I love my kid Elena. I
Hmm.
adopted her and everything like this. If we don't do this, she's gonna lose her sister. She could lose her sister, and
Yeah.
she could even hold that against her parents.
Right.
So I don't think they're the asshole at all, but I think that the it's the right thing to do to try to make it work. Hopefully you can do it. Hopefully you can get it figured out where the sisters can still have a relationship. Maybe she needs to be in a home,
Hmm.
because they did say that behavior
There's some
issues and
emotional and
things.
behavioral things going on too.
Right.
And
So
that's the other
maybe
thing when you take on a kiddo with additional stuff,
right.
right, wrong, or indifferent, that should influence your decision because are you best prepared to do this? We all want
Yeah.
to have it be that great, half hour sitcom with 22 minutes and commercials where at the end of it everybody does this great sympathetic theme music and we're all gonna love each other and hug each other. Always gonna be great for that. The real world doesn't work like that, unfortunately. I think that's why a lot of us like movies.
Yeah.
But this one's tough. What you really, I mean, I think at this point we just goes and really hope it work. Whatever happened or happens in the future, these are real people. We really hope it works out well, especially for the child. But yeah, do I think the writer is the a-hole? Absolutely not. If anything, I think the fact that they thought it through and really tried to really get some feedback on it really proves they are not the a-hole.
Awesome. All right. So now that we went really somber there,
We
let's
went
go
real.
pick it up.
We were serious as hell. We don't know if
Yeah,
we're gonna get. That's taking nerdy to another level, sir. Yes,
right.
sir.
That's past nerd deep. That's just
Yes.
deep.
Yeah.
Brian, who's your human of the week, man?
All right. So when it comes to my human of the week, now first off, we've had we had a few people get, because we talk a lot about movies and television. Not that we know these people, but I don't know if you saw it yesterday, Bradley. While I am personally not a big fan of the show, Matthew Perry from Friends passed away yesterday. Was found, I believe, in his hot tub, and that's really
Yeah.
tragic and sad. I think he was 54, so far too young. But then the other piece of it is, if I have to though give my better than us human of the week, sir, I gotta go there.
So I actually
Nope.
have two.
I mean, hang on. I can give you mine. He's not my better than us. Here's my person. 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, my better than us human of the week was born on July 9th, 1942, and passed away at the ripe old age of 81 on October 24th, 2003. Known for many iconic movies, but most importantly and most well known for playing the original Detective John Shaft, Richard Arnold Roundtree. I'm just talking about Shaft. Shut your mouth.
Well done. Actually, my better than us human is a Richard as well.
Okay, let's hit it.
Mine is Richard Mall from Night Court, who
Oh,
also
yes.
passed away as well.
Yes.
So
That
man,
leaves
like
us only two of the original cast members.
apparently, when we
John
said
Larroquette.
we were
Yeah.
gonna go up from somber, we
Oh
did.
God, we did. It's kind of stayed there. So
But yeah, so
yeah,
R.I.P.
Richard,
Matthew Perry,
Yep.
Shaft,
and Richard
Mall.
Moe. So that leaves Marsha Warfield and John Larroquette, I believe, as the
Yeah.
only of the original. Well, no one even Marsha Warfield wasn't even in the original cast,
No.
but of the primary people in that, she and Dan Larroquette are still is the now I'm gonna call it a remake. The
The bad one?
continuation of the sequel, yes, that continue
whole-
on. Did that get canceled?
I hope it got canceled. I mean, I only made it through like 2 episodes, man.
Yeah, I've routinely tried to go back into it, give a little bit of Night Court theme for us, and it just there's pockets occasionally with it, but overall is and really what the thing that I thought would be the strongest was the casting of Harry Stone's of
Yeah.
who would be
Melissa Roach.
Yeah, I thought she would bring, and I don't know, maybe it's because it's typecast. I was really expecting Bernadette. I don't know what I was.
Yeah,
but it's just not. The writing's not great. The laughs are definitely good. Thing they have laugh tracks because it definitely is not that fun of a show.
Man, they should have just made her so serious, like a serious one, and like the whole purpose of the show is to get her to lighten up.
Well, yeah, because so much of her is, hey, I want to do what Harry Stone did, but instead of her like you said, part of if they did it the opposite way, where she came in super serious, like not want to be her dad, and they let the cast like humanize her, at least for the first season.
Yeah,
that to me would have made more sense to her coming in yucking it up with everyone to the point that it goes like she's coming, she's reading off it, she's annoying is what it comes off to.
Exactly.
Yeah, actually, dude's like, look, I'll just plead guilty. Can we just get me through this real quick? I just want to get out. Yeah.
All right, man. Where can we find you?
And always, you can find me on the Book of Faces at Brian Stephen Dennis. Please give me a like, give me a follow. Try and keep things funny and weird. And for the month of October, I've been throwing all the shade at Candy Corns. We've got 2 more days of it. And again, I just try and hopefully I would love people to join on Facebook and just have a chat, keep the conversation going, sir. So what about you, my friend?
All right. Well, you can find me at you can tweet at me at Fandemic3. I probably won't respond. You can message me on Facebook at Fandemic.
At least he's honest. He's honest.
You can message me on TikTok as well at Fandemic1. You can see all the stuff that I do for my job and all sorts of stuff. I try to put clips of the podcast on there. I've been lazy about it lately, but that's just because I've been playing a lot of video games lately, which anyway. If you want to support the show, there are several ways to do so. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thefandemic. Find us on Patreon at patreon.com/PVOTN Fandemic. Become an episode assistant, an episode producer, a pre-venge producer like Stacy, or become part of the Council of Nerds. Yes, you can be part of the con for about $5 a month. You can.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's good. And if you just want to give me money, I will take it at PayPal or Venmo at Bradley Butan, or just share the show with someone you want to make a little more awesome. Don't forget
Sir.
to leave a 5-star review and keep the conversation alive in the comments. All right. So, Brian, I think we have hit max levels of awesome tonight.
Bury that needle.
Let's go ahead and end the show like we do every episode.
All
What do you got,
right.
buddy?
Again, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us for what is the best part of our week. Thank you again for your time, your attention, and joining the conversation. And remember, as always, never give up, never surrender, and Goonies, never say die.
Friendship is like peeing on yourself. Everyone can see it, but only you get the warm feeling that it brings. Remember, if cauliflower can become pizza, you can do anything. If you think about it, every time you feel stupid, you just got a little bit smarter. Also, squirrels' cheeks are also their nut sacks. Remember, don't let today end in a why didn't I? Oh, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, folks.